Good morning, friends. So let's start our prelims booster session and let's see the first topic. It is UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So the Union Minister of Culture has confirmed that UNESCO has accepted 6 sites to the tentative list of India, which is meant to be included in the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So, which are these 6 sites? You can read it here: Maratha military architecture in Maharashtra, Hire Bengal, a megalithic site in Karnataka, and so on. See, so these 6 sites are added to the tentative list. The final list is yet to be published, but the tentative list, which is akin to a draft, and these 6 sites have been included in that tentative list from India. Based upon that tentative list, the final decision will be taken in due time. Okay, so India proposed total 9 sites, but 6 of them have been accepted by UNESCO for inclusion in the tentative list. So now, from India's side, total 48 proposals have been sent for the tentative list, and out of them, the final decision will be taken by UNESCO to approve some of these 48 sites as the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So actually, what is a World Heritage Site? So World Heritage Site is any natural or man-made area or a structure or a site which is of international importance. So because it is of international importance, so it requires special protection. Okay, so what is UNESCO World Heritage Site? Basically, it's any heritage site of international importance which is recognized by the UN. So on behalf of UN, UNESCO is recognizing such sites so that due recognition and protection can be provided to such sites by recognizing their cultural and physical significance. Okay, so it is important for humanity to preserve their culture, and such sites are the harbingers of our culture. Okay, so that's why it is important to preserve such sites. Now let's see something about UNESCO. It was founded in 1945, and it is based on a presumption that culture acts as a bridge between people, and it will act as a force for peace. uh, Culture will be important in modern century, and it will help preserve peace in the world community. So UNESCO was founded in 1945 as a specialized body of the United Nations. It is located in Paris, that is France. uh, so now UNESCO World Heritage Sites will be announced after the tentative list will be screened, and 6 of such sites have been added to the tentative list of India. Now let's see what is the Nord Stream 2 pipeline project and why it is in news. Actually, the US government has announced that it will waive sanctions on the company which is constructing and implementing the Nord Stream 2 pipeline project, especially the chief executive of the company which is implementing this project, because the chief executive is alleged to be very close to Russian President Vladimir Putin. So Americans were apprehensive of chief executive's role in implementing this project, and they were thinking that this project is much more than just an economic cooperation between Europe and Russia. US government was looking at this project through a geopolitical angle, and it was assuming that this multi-billion-dollar project could uh, increase the reliance of Europe on Russia. So the Americans were uh, initially reluctant to approve this project, and they were targeting sanctions against this company, this Russian company which is implementing this project, and they were rather keen to provide an alternative to the Europeans that look, don't buy the Russian gas. We are ready to provide you liquefied natural gas. So instead of Russian gas, you should buy American gas. Okay, so now because every most of the basically most of the European countries were opposed to this project earlier, but after Germany's steadfast support to this project, because this pipeline is going to pass through Germany and Denmark territories, so Germany was steadfast in its support to this project. So after considering the support of Germany to this project, Americans have softened their approach. They do not want to alienate Germany, because Germany is a very important partner. Rather, President Trump during his time infuriated Germans when he called that NATO members should pay more often and Germany is not paying enough. So now this Democratic President Joe Biden is making a course correction, and he wants to send a signal that to Germany that they are very important partners. So to reimpose faith in Germany, President Biden is willing to waive the sanctions which were imposed on Nord Stream 2 pipeline project company. Okay, so let us see what is this Nord Stream 2 pipeline. In 2015, Gazprom is a Russian uh, state company which is implementing this project, and five other European energy firms decided that we should build Nord Stream 2. Now why is it named Nord Stream 2? Because Nord Stream 1 was already uh, built and started in 2011 itself. Okay, so it is already supplying almost 55 billion cubic meters of gas per year to Europe from Russia. Now this Nord Stream 2 wants to replicate that success, and this project is touted to be of almost $11 billion in value. Okay, this is a 1200-kilometer pipeline which will run from Russia to Germany, and it will also pass from Denmark. It will also supply 55 billion cubic meters of gas per year. So the combined strength of Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 would come out to be almost 110 billion cubic meters of gas to Germany per year. Okay, so this pipeline falls in Germany and Danish is Denmark. Okay, so these two countries will host this pipeline, and 150 kilometer of pipeline has already been constructed or has been laid, and the project is in full construction mode. But of course, due to some issues such as US sanctions, the project was halted in December 2019. But this year, in January, it has been restarted because Germany has come out in support of it, and Germany wants to carry it forward. So after seeing the German intentions, US is also backtracking. So anyways, why was this pipeline controversial? Let us see. Actually, the project was seen to be a project of Russian President Vladimir Putin, who wants Europe to increase its dependence on Russia for natural gas. So US was not comfortable regarding it, and US was warning Europe that this project will increase your dependence on Russians, and Russia could roll the ball anytime it wants. And that's why you should not go ahead with this project, because it is going to be very costly in terms of geopolitics. But of course, there were other objections also, such as of Ukraine. So why was Ukraine objecting to it? Because there is a pipeline, a land pipeline basically, which already exists between Russia and Europe, and that land pipeline passes through Ukraine. And Ukraine is fearing that after Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2's construction, Russia will shift the entire supply of natural gas through those two pipelines, and it will stop using the land pipeline which is passing through Ukraine. And if Russia stops that, this will rob away precious transit fee that Ukrainians are getting currently, as a transit area between Europe and Russia. Okay, so Ukraine has commercial issues because it does not want the lucrative transit fees to discontinue after this Nord Stream 2 pipeline is constructed. That's why it is opposing this project. Okay, but of course, as I said earlier, Germany has solidly stood behind this project, and despite opposition from allies such as France. Okay, even Chancellor Merkel is saying that this is just a commercial project. Do not draw out any political conclusions from it. We're not cooperating politically with Russians, or we're not being a vassal state of Russians, and all that. We just want to see it as a commercial project. Okay, so now, um, even Germany has subtly, or basically silently, declined the American offer of seaborne liquefied natural gas that America was offering to the Germans. Okay, now, as I said, in December 2019, this project was put on shelf after a threat of US sanctions. But just a month after that, in January 2020, not January this year, in January 2020 itself, uh, uh, Americans started imposing sanctions, but the project resumed, and because Germany was not willing to shelve off this project despite American pressure. Okay, so now, after seeing German support to this project, the Americans are correcting their course, and they are waiving sanctions on the company, that is Gazprom, and the chief executive, which is deemed to be close to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Okay, so now let's see the next topic. The next topic is legislative councils. The West Bengal government has approved the setting up of a legislative council in the state, which was actually abolished 50 years ago. So, right now, only 6 states have a legislative council. The legislative council is the upper house of a state legislature. So, only 6 states currently have a legislative council: Bihar, UP, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Karnataka. If passed by the parliament, West Bengal will become the seventh state to have a upper house in their legislature. So let's see the background of legislative councils. So Montagu-Chelmsford reforms, which we also call the Government of India Act 1919, it introduced bicameralism at the national level. So, like earlier, there was just a Lok Sabha. Of course, it was called a council of people, but not a Lok Sabha. So Lok Sabha, earlier there was just Lok Sabha, but after Government of India Act 1919, the national legislature was made bicameral, and Council of State, that is Rajya Sabha, which we call today, which we call it Rajya Sabha as of today, it was made. The Council of State was made in Act of 1919. After this act, in 1935, the provinces were allowed to have a bicameral legislature. So the upper house was added in some of the provinces. In fact, the first legislative council was established in Bengal only in the year 1937. Okay, uh, of course, when we were writing our constitution, or we were forming our constitution, there was a disagreement in Constituent Assembly that we should not have that we should have a second chamber in states. Many of the members were not in favor of it. In fact, Professor KT Shah, who hailed from Bihar, he said that it would be a very costly affair to have an upper house in every state, because there will be salaries, allowances to members and all that. So it would be very expensive, and rather it would obstruct and delay the necessary legislation for which the people have given mandate to the assembly members. Okay, so there was opposition to it, but after a lot of discussion, it was announced that initially only the states of Bihar, Bombay, Madras, Punjab, United Provinces, and West Bengal. These six states will only have initially only these six states will have a legislative council, and the option of abolishing or creating a second the option of creating and abolishing an upper house or a second chamber was left to the states, and of course the states would exercise it through the parliament only, but the option was left to the states. And many states, rather, after the inception of the constitution, many states opted for abolishing the council, and many states rather opted for creating one. Okay, so now the constitution allows the legislative assembly to the power to overrule the council, okay, in case of a disagreement. Like in case of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, if Rajya Sabha is not agreeing to it, Lok Sabha can override Rajya Sabha in certain matters. But in case of states, the power to override the council is much wider than the Lok Sabha, and than in comparison with Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, right? So the constitution also capped the total membership of the council to 1/3 only. Okay, now let's see what are the constitutional provisions with respect to legislative council. So as per 1969 article, the article 169 says that the parliament can abolish or create a legislative council in a state with just a simple majority. Okay, that is total members present and voting, provided that the concerned state has already passed a resolution to that effect with a special majority. Okay, so in case of creation or abolition, the parliament just needs to pass the bill with a simple majority, but for that the legislative assembly should have passed the resolution with a special majority. Similarly, Article 171 of the Constitution says that the total strength of the Legislative Council cannot be more than 1/3 of the total strength of State Assembly, and the minimum number has been set to 40. Okay, so as we have seen above, only 6 states have a Legislative Council as of today. Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. So let us see how the members of the council are elected. So there are different criteria, like 1/3 members are directly elected by the members of assembly, 1/3 are elected by the electorate of municipalities, district boards, and other local authorities, 1/12 by electorate consisting of teachers, then 1/12 by graduates. The remaining members are nominated by the governor. Okay. So now let's see the community-based inclusive development programs. So the Union Ministry of Social Justice has just launched a program named Community-Based Inclusive Development Program. It is basically a program which is launched on a pilot basis initially for the rehabilitation of Divyangjans. Okay, so the objective is to create a pool of grassroots rehabilitation workers who will work alongside with ASHA and Anganwadi workers to handle cross disability issues. Now, what are cross disability issues? Some institutions are serving our disabled people, and they are specialized institutions, like for people who cannot see, the disabled people who cannot see, they would go to one particular type of institution. Those who cannot hear, they will go to one particular type of institution or particular type of specialists or workers who are helping them. Okay, now in cross disability issues, all such Divyangjans can just go to a one stop shop, and they can avail the services necessary for their survival. Okay, so these Asha and Anganwadi workers will be assisted by these grassroots rehabilitation workers, which will handle cross disability issues amongst these disabled people, which we call Divyangjan, of course. And this will facilitate inclusion of such persons with disabilities in the society. Okay, now how will this program work? So basically, this program is going to be based on competency based knowledge and skills among these workers, who will be called as Divyang Mitra, and they will successfully discharge their duties with respect to the two persons with disabilities. Okay, now this project is started initially on a pilot basis with just with two batches in 7 national institutes, and these workers will be made to go through a test later on by a national board of examination and rehabilitation, which was established under the Rehabilitation Council of India. And once these grassroots workers go through their entire program and they give the test and all this examination, they will be awarded certificates to the pass out. Of course, the pass out candidates will be awarded certificates for participating in this program. Okay, so it will act as a skill development or skill based or knowledge based competency program, which will be beneficial for both these grassroots workers and our disabled or Divyangjans, right? So let's see the next topic, which is solar orbiter mission. So we have already read about this mission. We know that NASA and European Space Agency launched this solar orbiter mission in July, I think July last year, and it was meant to capture high high quality images of the sun, to study the outer atmosphere of the sun and the magnetosphere of the sun and the poles of the sun and all that. Basically, it was meant to study the atmosphere of the sun. And now this program or this mission has sent the first solar eruption on the sun's surface. Now these eruptions are also called coronal mass ejections, because corona is the outermost surface of the sun. So any ejection that goes out of it, or any eruption that goes out of it, it is called coronal mass ejection. Okay, so first images have been sent to the NASA and European Space Agency, okay, to this program. Now let us see what is corona. What is sun's corona? The sun's corona is the outermost part of the sun's atmosphere. It is actually hidden because of the bright light of the sun's surface, and we cannot see it directly. It can only be seen during a total solar eclipse, when the brightness of the sun goes a little down. Okay, it can only be witnessed during that period from the sun, from the earth, of course. Well, this sun's corona extends far into space because of its because solar winds also travel from this coronal from this sun's corona, and so the sun's corona is actually bigger than the sun itself. So the outer atmosphere of the sun is oozing out of the sun, and it is covering a large portion out of the sun itself. Okay, so it is covering a large portion of of our solar system. So it becomes important to study this outer atmosphere of the sun to see what effect does it make to our planets, and especially to our earth. Okay, so the temperature of this corona is almost 2 million kelvins, and it has an extremely low density. Let us see about this solar orbiter mission. The mission was launched last year, to observe the sun with high spatial resolution telescopes. So this spacecraft is carrying high spatial resolution telescopes, so to get the images of this corona part. Okay, so it will also study. It will also help us to study that how stars can affect the environment of the space environment throughout the solar system. Now we know that the sun is the brightest star in our solar system. So if we study the effect of sun in our solar system, we'll understand how other similar stars or other stars would behave uh, uh, in uh, in affecting the space environment. So this spacecraft is the first will be the first rather to provide images of the sun's poles also. Okay, so it is important to study the sun's pole because it will gave us information about the magnetic environment of the sun. And it is important to study the magnetic environment of the sun because it will provide the information about the solar cycle. Sun has a solar cycle of 11 years, we already know about that. Okay, during that solar cycle, sun starts producing or outpouring solar storms. So it is important to study this solar cycle, and it can only be studied if we understand the magnetic environment of the sun. And to study the magnetic environment of the sun, we will have to see the poles of the sun and how it behaves, how it revolves, how it evolves. We will have to study all that to understand more about the sun. Okay, so first images have been sent, and we wish that more could be more would be known about this uh, sun's corona, so that we'll have a better picture about how the sun is evolving with time and what effect it could make on our solar system and how would we be affected by it. Okay, so friends, we this is today we have basically we have shared the weekly compilation of current affairs in the Telegram group. I just want you to download that and read that anytime, whenever you want. But I would advise you to read that on a Sunday when we do not cover prelims booster. So you revise the entire week's compilation on a Sunday. It will help you to revise. It will be very important when you will it will help you basically when you will revise the entire syllabus or the entire current affairs compilation at the end of the year. Okay, so these were our topics for today. We'll meet next time with new topics. Until then, goodbye and take care.